So we're going to add these ingredients, the core basic ingredients for our favorite bean soup. It's going to be some minced garlic, some baby carrots, some celery, and some onions. We're going to go ahead and put the garlic in now and get it going. Probably about 5 cloves, so get that nice and brown. And we're going to add 1 cup of carrots, baby carrots, and 1 cup of celery. We're going to keep this moving around together. And we're going to let that cook for 2 or 3 minutes before we add the onions, because the onions don't need quite as much time to cook. We're going to go ahead and make sure we keep this on a medium-high heat and keep these vegetables moving around in the pot so we don't burn any. But if they do burn, don't worry, because we're going to add a little bit of red wine to glaze the pan a little bit before we add the stock to it. Okay, now we're going to have 1 minute if you want to wait, and then we're going to add the onions in 1 minute. Looking really good. We're going to add 2 cups of onions. And we're going to get these to get a little bit translucent, maybe another 2 minutes. And we're going to add a little bit of red wine, and we're going to glaze the pan a little bit, and then we'll add some of our stock. You can use a vegetable stock and make it a vegetarian bean soup, or you could add, say, like a chicken stock for flavoring, which we're going to do, and we're going to add a little bit of pork medallion at the end. So you really can use any bean you want, and you can use, you can use chicken, you can use pork, and you can use any kind of vegetable broth or chicken broth to make it to whatever flavor or whatever taste that you're trying to satisfy. It's been about 1.5 minutes. We're going to let this go down a little bit more. We're going to add some wine, and then we're going to add our stock to it. Let the beans cook for about an hour and 15 minutes, and it'll be delicious. So now it's been a few minutes. I actually covered it to help expedite the cooking process. And you'll see that it's starting to brown and maybe stick a little bit in there. So we're going to give these vegetables a turn, and you see it's starting to stick. That's all going to be flavor though, trust me. So we're going to add a little bit of wine to it. Deglaze the pan before we add the beans in the water. Probably about a 1/4 cup, give or take. We're not really measuring on that. So now we put that wine in there, and it should clean up the pan really nice. So that's a little trick. If you don't know it, you should always get something stick in the bottom, add a little wine, nothing sticking anymore, you got a little more flavor. This is essential to cooking, especially for French cooking, or New Orleans, or any kind of cooking for that matter. So we're going to go ahead and now add our beans, and we're going to add some stock to that. I got some beans over here earlier that we went ahead and soaked overnight. Some northern beans, some Great Northerns. We're going to go ahead and put those in right now. And then we're going to add the stock a little bit at a time to make sure we keep the temperature in the skillet. Then we're going to go ahead and bring this up to a rolling boil. Add a little bit of salt and a couple bay leaves. We're going to give that a stir. Make sure the bay leaves, if you count how many you put in, so you can count how many you take out before you eat them, because they can be dangerous and sometimes even deadly. They can stick to the inside of your throat, so that's not good. So just do that a little stir. We're probably going to add some of this Creole Fire Spice blend. So that's one of my favorite seasonings. It's about a tablespoon of it right now. Matter of fact, let's add 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to add some salt. We're going to go ahead and use some little sea salt. That's all I use in most of my cooking. I think it tastes better. About 20 turns. That should be about a tablespoon for now. We'll go ahead and we'll get this on a rolling boil. As soon as it gets to a rolling boil, we're going to go ahead and turn it down and simmer it for about an hour and a half. Until what tenderness you like your bean. Depending on the bean too. Like I'm using these northerns, they'll probably be done a little bit, say a kidney or a red bean might take a little longer, or a split pea sometimes take a little less time. Just depends on the heat you have. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this a non-vegetarian bean soup. We got a couple of pork medallions that we vacuum sealed. They're just a little bit of a hot and spicy pork that we went ahead and marinated with a little bit of rosemary and some of our fire dust. We're going to drop these in the last 30 or 40 minutes of cooking, and they'll become real tender. We'll close the lid, and that's it. Now that we finish this bean soup, all that's left to make it disappear.